Hello, my name is Rianne from S.O.S Quilt, and I'm telling the story of my first scrap quilt for the Sustainability Stories of Quilt Alliance. I chose to talk about this quilt, first because it's the first quilt I ever made that's big, but also because this quilt taught me two things. It is that everybody can quilt, because I made this amazingly fun looking thing without much experience, but it also showed me that everybody can quilt with any kind of materials. Because I've always been a stubborn person who wanted to try and see if you could do things in a different way. So when I started my quilting career as a student, very stubborn, I heard from people that you can only do it with cotton fabrics you buy in a shop. But I was like, I want to know if that's actually true, because who knows? I wanted to try working with like the most stretchiest, shiniest, ripplest fabric I could find. So I went to Facebook, to those giveaway groups, and I said, who has odd fabrics to be? I think that's literally the words I used in Dutch. And who has odd fabric scraps I can use? And I got a lot of them, like the velvety stuff, the shiny stuff. And I used all of it in a quilt to prove that you can indeed quilt with it. I also got some fabrics from my mom from leftover projects, because I learned from her. And yeah, so all of it are scraps, and what I like about it is that it gives the quilt a very lively look, but it also makes the quilt very interesting to touch. Because instead of having like a uniform feeling, when you go over the quilt, your fingers will touch different kind of textures on different kind of patches of fabric. And I think I sometimes have problems with fear and anxiety, and having a quilt that's interesting always helps to calm me down. So that's also why it's partly because of sustainability that I quilt with any kind of fabric, because I don't want it to throw away. I want everything that's there to be reused in a quilt. But also partly because it's very good for mental health to make quilts like this. Because if you open up the floor to quilt with any kind of fabrics, you also open up the floor for the opportunity of having a memory quilt with whatever you want to remember. If you have, for example, an aunt who only wore polyester, you can quilt with it. So that's the story of my first scrap quilt. I wanted to share it with you because it still makes me calm and happy to look at it. I still feel proud that I made something like this with my own hands. And it also shows the magic of quilting. Like partly the mental health, because it calms me down. The connection, because I collected fabrics from many different people. The joy, because you can use any kind of fabric you want, even gold. And also the sustainability aspect. It shows you that you can quilt with anything you want. So with Kick-Ass Quilts, my slogan is society's trash will be our treasure. And this quilt is a very good example of that. Thank you.